Hello guys, so welcome to chapter 14 of Sallustius on the gods in the world. So this one's a huge chapter. This one is about how offerings to the gods in mythology would appease the gods, how when we do good we feel close to the gods, and what causes us to not feel the gods during prayer. So this one's a pretty big chapter. So Sallustius says in chapter 14 that, "But if anyone think agreeable to reason and truth, that the gods are immutable, doubts how they rejoice in the good, but are averse from the evil, and how they become angry with the guilt, but are rendered propitious by proper cultivation." So meaning that how they get angry whenever we give them things that makes them bet on our side again. And it says that for people that think that way, that offerings can appease the gods, we reply that divinity neither rejoices, for that which is rejoicing is also influenced by sorrow, nor is angry, for if they are angry, for anger is a passion, nor appeased with gifts, for he would be influenced by delight. Nor is it lawful that a divine nature should be well or ill affected from human concerns. So it's not what we do that affects whether the gods will speak to you or I. For the divinities are perpetually good and profitable. They are just all good and keeping the universe flowing, basically. But they are never noxious and ever subsist in the same uniform mode of being. But we, meaning you and I, when we are good, we are conjoined with the gods through similitude, meaning that when we are good, I mentioned it in the past video, that whenever we're in the good, doing the right thing, we have the right mindset to connect to the gods. So we have an easier time connecting and feeling their presence when we pray to the gods. Unlike if we know we're guilty of something or something's going on, we don't have the right mind frame, we'll give an offering and feel like we're not being heard. So again, it says that when we are good, we are conjoined with the gods through similitude, meaning same spirit, basically. But when we're evil, we are separated through the dissimilitude. And while we live according to virtue, we partake of the gods. Again, when we live according to the virtue, we are in the same mindset as the gods, so it makes us easier to connect to the gods. But when we become evil, we cause them to become our enemies, meaning you can't feel the gods. And it says right here, not that they are angry, but because guilt prevents us from receiving the illumination of the gods, and subjects us to the power of avenging demons. So again, this is why people sometimes they say they can't feel the gods even if they pray and give offering. Are we in the right mindset to feel and receive from the gods? Because they are here, they're in the universe, they're everywhere, and we have to be in the right mindset to connect with the gods. But if we obtain pardon of our guilt through prayer and sacrifices, we neither appease nor cause any change to take place in the gods, is what he says. So giving offerings and praying will not change the situation in your life. And it doesn't affect the gods because the gods are still the same and they never change. It says, but by this method, and by our conversations to divine nature, we apply a remedy to our vices, and again are partakers of the goodness of the gods. So it's not our sacrifice and prayers that connect us to the gods, but when we start praying and sacrificing, we center ourselves to get on that right mindset to connect with the gods. So that is the same to assert that divinity is turned from the evil, as to say that the sun is concealed from those who are deprived of sight. And that's the end of chapter 14. So that is interesting. So it says that to say that the gods are turned away from evil is to say the sun is not there even though the blind can't see it. So the gods are always with us. Your sacrifices and offerings do not appease an angry God, but it puts you into a mindset to connect with the gods. And we have to be in the right mindset to really experience worship and ritual. Anyway, guys, so here we go. Let's go ahead and go into chapter 15. Sallustius says, "From hence we are presented with a solution of the doubts concerning sacrifice and other particulars relative to the cultivation of divinity. For that which is divine is not indigent on anything," meaning the gods, when we give offering, they don't need it. They do not need our offering because they're going to keep on keeping the universe flowing and life going. So it is not something they need. And Sallustius says, "But the honors which we pay to the gods are performed for the sake of our advantage. And since the providence of the gods is everywhere extended, and certain habitude or fitness is all that is requisite in order to receive their benefit communications. But all habitude is produced through imitation and similitude, and hence temples imitate the heavens, but altars the earth. Statues resemble life, and on this account they are similar to animals, and prayer imitates that which is intellectual." Now that's interesting. Let's see if we can go back to that again. He's basically describing our altars and what that is what that is symbolism for. Let's see if we can see that again. It says the temples imitate the heaven. Altars are the earth. Statues resemble life. And this is what all this basically is meaning. It says, "But character superior with powers, herbs and stones resemble matter, animals which are sacrificed, the irrational life of our souls. But from all these things, nothing happens to the gods beyond what they already possess. For what accession can be made to a divine nature? But a conjunction with our soul and the gods is by this means produced." So again, our sacrifices give nothing to the gods that they do not already have. And it is just a way for us to connect with divinity. So he has one more chapter in chapter 16 on sacrifices. I think we should go ahead and cover just because it's on the same subject. And so Sallustius concludes this on sacrifices with saying, "But I think it will be proper to add a few things concerning sacrifices. And in the first place, since we possess everything from the gods, it is but just to offer the first fruits of gifts to the givers. Hence, of our possessions we offer the first fruits through consecrated gifts, of our bodies through ornaments, and of our life through sacrifices. Besides, without sacrifice, prayers are only words." Here we go. Now, this is the famous quote everybody knows. I've heard this so many times, and you can see Zelda in the background contemplating evil. And speaking of evil, see if the statue breaker's going to do something. But this is the quote everybody knows. I always hear this when people ask, what should I give as a sacrifice and offering? Here it is again. Here's the big one. It says, "Besides, without sacrifices, prayers are only words. But accompanied with sacrifices, they become animated words. And the words indeed corroborating life, but life animating these words. And two, that felicity of everything is its proper perfection. But the proper perfection of everything consists in a conjunction with its cause. And on this account we pray that we may be conjoined with the gods. Since therefore life primarily subsists in the gods, and there is also a certain human life, but the latter desires to be united with the former, a medium is required." Again, offerings make it easier to connect with the divinity. "For natures much distant from each other cannot be conjoined without a medium, and it is necessary that the medium should be similar to the connected natures. Life, therefore, must necessarily be the medium of life, and hence the men of present day that are happy, and all the ancients have sacrificed animals. Now, you don't have to sacrifice animals to connect to the gods, but it makes it easier again just to give an offering. Even if it's a bowl of water, if it's something, it's just to make an offering. It says that it animates your prayers. And he says that in this indeed, not rashly, but in a manner accommodating to every god, with many other ceremonies respecting the cultivation of divinity, and thus much concerning sacrifices in the worship of the gods. So the moral of the story of these last 3 chapters today is that the gods don't need sacrifice, that it is for our benefit, that they have everything. They keep on doing what they're doing, and it's our sacrifices and our offerings help when we give something as an offering. It's not for their benefit, but for ours, because the offering is almost a medium, an easier way to put us in the right mindset to connect with the gods when we want to pray. And the bad things we do, more than anything, can be what stops us, not because they're angry at us, but because it puts us out of the step with where we should be spiritually and mentally to connect with divinity. So there you go, guys. Chapters 14, 15, and 16. Like I said, I decided to go ahead and do all 3 because they're all concerning sacrifice and offering. And I will see you guys. We're getting super close to the end now. And I'm glad for those who have enjoyed this series. And I will see you later. And who knows, maybe Zelda will pop up in the next video. Bye.